fresh and there's not fresh. There's first dibs, second dibs, third dibs. And see, this is why the world is mad. Because to offend women, you're literally offending the gatekeepers of ignorance. And to have men out there speaking as if they were women. I saw a post where it talks about he was toxic and he did this and he made men feel something and whatever. And I looked up and it was a post by a brother who marriage pictures are it's on his profile. So I went and looked and he talked about marrying his sweet college sweetheart. See, you can't be a non-promiscuous man or a man that don't get chose to have this conversation. And those who get chose know what I'm saying. And those who get chose, be careful. Because apparently they sent one that fit perfectly into his profile. I remember one time when Kevin Samuels had a conversation and he asked the lady her demographics and she said that she was 5'9", 220. And he referred to her as a professional size running back and, meant to make gestures of running through a hole. It was funny, but it hurt her feelings. But we get what we asked for, right? Most of us, not all of us, but a large volume of us voted for the Biden and Harris administration, and we're getting exactly what we asked for. So we made a mistake. So maybe our next vote would be for nobody, but I'm going to leave that for tomorrow because I'm going to do a BL Glover show, entertainment, sports, politics, and money, and kind of bring it all in. Well, I'm going to stick to the script today because this successful black man whose net worth was $4 million was clearly on his way and clearly pissed off some people in high places. So I'm going to stick to the story and try to find out. I don't really want to put that negative, bad stuff out there because, like I said, I can do a story or video and, put some stuff in there and then people will use my video. But I want to be 100% accurate because they killed this man. Literally. You don't come out with an article on Monday and this man is trending saying, is it time to cancel Kevin Samuels? And then all of the the 10s and you were 8 at best and you were 7 at best and all this, they seeing at least a 10 in his eyes in the package of a biracial Asian Pacific Islander, not with the lace front hair, with the real hair that they use for the lace front. They sent the right one for him because he was checkmated and lost his life. And when you look at it from a spectator perspective, meaning you're not offended either way, it's just entertainment, I really started to see a shift. And this is when I started to understand the method to the madness, because there's a method to the madness that I deal with. I'm misunderstood constantly on a regular basis, constantly, but it's not stopping me because I cannot get outside of my integrity. It's about morals, living a moralist lifestyle. Changing the game. And this is why they're mad. High value men, high value women. What does this mean? Regardless of how he penned it, just the name itself, high value. If you're a high value man, a high value man or a high value woman, and you're single, you value yourself and you take care of yourself on a high value level. And then when you're ready, really ready, you connect with another person on your level, and this is what they call leveling up. But the world don't want to see a dynamic black female and a dynamic black man. The world don't want to see that. And to be perfectly and brutally honest and frank, they are relying on our ignorance. They're relying on our feeble-mindedness. They're relying on our historical in-pocket past, that crab bucket syndrome. And anybody that celebrates anybody's death should be ashamed because the cloth that I'm cut from the community that I come from, Y'all call it toxic, but we call it masculine. Y'all call it delusional. We call it aggressive. Where I come from, I don't know no man that will wish death on his worst enemy. Now, I don't know the mind of a Cain or a killer. I don't know the mindset of that. That's something different. But when you are living your life, you got goals, dreams, and admirations. You know without shadow of a doubt, you can't be hating on nobody. If somebody get blessed, you praise God for that human being, because that means God is still in the blessing business and you might be next. But we're living in a world where fraudulent people and fraudulent things have basically taken over, and now they're starting to unravel in plain sight. We're starting to see their disfiguration of their faces. So they'll be willing to kill an individual to stop one individual from pouring into the spirit of not only humanity, but into black men. And this is why the women are mad. The only people who have issues with me, my messaging, and when I have conversations with my brothers in the public is they women. Every man that I know that had an issue with me on Facebook, Instagram, or really on Facebook, that were community or communal type, was because they wives had an issue, and they wives checked them for agreeing with me, looked them dead in their eyes and say, "Oh, you agree? You agree with him?" So they block me. So it's kind of like a Jada Pinkett, Will Smith thing. These men are being held hostage. These men are walking around wearing panties. And this is why I'm saying the alpha male, we got to stand up, because they been making examples of us for thousands of years. But we got to step our game up right now and be ye the example and take control not only of our own lives, but our community and our families, and become a high value culture, meaning we're raising the bar. Everybody that I know that's a baby boomer that have these meetings and all of these seminars and these motivational speeches and talks, they talking about leveling up, leveling up, leveling up. All they do is talk about leveling up. But if you 85 years old, what are you leveling up to? See, sometimes we do things that have already passed or expired because it makes perfectly good sense. And then we take that mantle and manipulate it and take it to a place where it shouldn't be. But when it's at the right time, the right moment. Because what I'm saying is we got baby boomers and we got Generation X. These two generations were greatly affected. And you have baby boomers, older, still playing the game because they did not develop 100%. Still walking around as undeveloped creatures because their growth was stopped in the 60s. So now when a 50-ish year old man talk to a 70-ish or 80-ish man and talk about what they gonna do, that's the last thing that generation wants to hear, because their whole entire lifetime has been predicated on we about to get something but never get it. So now they turn on their children, and then they vote and will continue to vote for crime bills to lock them up. Then they'll vote for presidential candidates that does not represent America, kind of like selling us out. And I remember when Clyburn said, Joe know us and we know Joe, but clearly the devil we know don't trump the one we don't know. Clearly. But the baby boomer will sit back and be offended just because I'm calling them out. So I'm going to tell you, baby boomers, level up. Don't be the catalyst to continue to slaughter and use your children's generation as a sacrifice just to continue with your AARP. Because if you play your cards right, your children will be the catalyst in Generation X to basically balance the scale socially and economically. We got a plan. See, there's a method to the madness. See, a lot of people think we just talking rhetoric just to be talking, but there's a plan of change down the road with compensation. So how can we move on as a people with no hope? How can we move on as a people without stepping our game up? How can we expand the black brand and, make the nuclear black family something beautiful again and compete globally from a racial perspective? Because if you look at the melanin in our skin, we are the vast majority. And we got to sit back and look at our country that owed reparations and got promises on the books for these here United States of America, but we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine and war-torn areas and send our American diplomats and our American elected rulers to go get the money and come back like we're foolish. And then you can't even find and see what's going on with the vice president. Just imagine you was a fan of the vice president. Where is she? What is she doing? She had COVID. Was COVID the excuse because she didn't want to go to Kyiv and they sent Nancy Pelosi? What's going on? But just because they decided to kill somebody, that can't stop the show. Now, the assassin's bullet, yeah, it did kill the whole movement. And we got stranded on second base because Dr. King's dream did not come into fruition, regardless of what any black woman would say that's a part of some sorority, which is now coming out as a secret society. Yes, the sororities and the fraternities, they are secret societies and they're gatekeepers to white supremacy. Yes, hard fact, so true. But what we gonna do, we gonna level up. So you got the divine nine, so we gonna create the divine. And all y'all gotta check in. We need to check y'all temperature and see where y'all at. We need to meet with all y'all leaders and understand what's going on so we can go back and tell the people our Greek system, either they're with us or against us. Now, I don't have a problem with you guys looking out for each other, but we want the blueprint and really want to understand how these things works because we're wanting to make the gangs in Los Angeles fraternal. We started this gangster shit, and this is the thanks we get. Yes, we are destroying the culture, so we got to fix it. So, yeah, we got to be brothers. Yeah, we got to kumbaya. Yeah, we got to find something to do other than fight and kill and steal from each other. Watch summer games, LA summer games. We can have summer games and let the gangs compete in all types of sports. Low riding, crip walking, bee walking, whatever you want to call it. Music. Who got the most platinum artists? The Bloods or the Crips? But we cannot continue to kill each other because it's genocide. Now, there was this thing called critical race theory, which actually died March 29th of 2022 when Joe Biden signed the H.R. 52 Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. So now critical race theory is critical race science. Critical race science. CRS. And when I say science, it's proven fact. The science of Willie Lynch, the critical theory sandwiching of race, which is to be talked about for the black race. Because we're going to have to reject being an ethnicity in this country or being addressed as an ethnicity. Because African American does not represent the race. When you represent the race, it has nothing to do with your sexual preference. It has nothing to do with whatever culture you belong to. It means that you're black and you're under the protection of us. Why is it that the black community, the only community that does not have a anti-defamation league? You got Asian hate, stop Asian hate. And when you look at the news and they talk about all the Asian hate that's been going on, but what about all the black and nigger problems that's been going on this whole time? Come on now. You write a swastika in a Jewish community and the news is there. Oh, there's been a hate crime. This report will be back right after this. And you come back. There was a swastika that was, wrote on the Taco Bell in Hancock Park. Like, wait a minute. A swastika? Didn't nobody get murdered? And then you go to the black community. We shooting up Airbnbs, killing the best of the best. Our rappers and